a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy.
Ruby Riott. Dori Elizabeth Prange is an American professional wrestler currently signed to WWE, where she performs on the SmackDown brand under the ring name Ruby Riott and is 1/3, and the leader of the Riott Squad, under the ring name Heidi Lovelace. She has worked on the independent circuit for promotions such as Shimmer Women Athletes, Shine Wrestling, Ohio Valley Wrestling, IWA Mid-South, and World Wonder Ring Stardom. Independent Circuit, 2010-2016. In 2012, Prange began training with Billy Rock at his School of Rock. Lovelace made her debut for JCW at the Arena Chicks at the Gathering event, where she defeated CJ Lane. Lovelace made her debut for Shimmer competing in Volume 51, where she teamed up with December in a losing effort to Pink Flash Kira and Sweet Cherry in a tag team match. Ohio Valley Wrestling, 2012-2013. On May 16, 2012, Prange received a tryout in Ohio Valley Wrestling against Taylor Hendricks, which she failed to win. Prange made her debut for the promotion under the ring name Heidi Lovelace on the May 23 episode of OVW episode 666, where she lost to CJ Lane. On the June 6 episode of OVW episode 668, Lovelace was defeated by Epiphany in a dark match. Lovelace made her television debut on the June 27 episode of OVW episode 671, where she competed in a fatal four-way match, which was won by Hendricks. On the July 11 episode of OVW episode 673, Lovelace competed in dark match, losing to Jessie Belle Smothers. On September 1 at OVW's Saturday Night Special, Lovelace defeated Hendricks in a no disqualifications match, earning a future championship match against her. Lovelace defeated Hendricks for OVW Women's Championship on September 15 during a live event in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. After winning the Women's Championship, Lovelace had victories over several divas: Jessie Belle Smothers on September 19 at OVW episode 683, Epiphany on September 26 at OVW episode 684, and Scarlett Bordeaux on October 3 at OVW episode 685. However, on October 6 at OVW's Saturday Night Special, Lovelace lost to Joseph Bynum in a non-title match, which meant that Bynum would receive a championship match in the future. On November 3, at OVW's Saturday Night Special, Lovelace successfully defended her championship against Joseph Bynum and Taylor Hendricks in a three-way match, after she pinned Hendricks. On the November 14 episode of OVW episode 691, Lovelace dropped the Women's Championship to Taryn Terrell, after the special guest referee Taylor Hendricks cost her the match. On the December 8 edition of OVW episode 694, Heidi lost to Jessie Belle Smothers in a number 1 contenders match. Since January 2013, Taylor Hendricks was receiving gifts from a secret admirer which she thought was either Dylan Bostic or Ryan Howe. The conclusion of that story ended on the April 27 episode of OVW, when Heidi announced that it was her sending the gifts to Hendricks, because she cares about her. On the May 4 episode of OVW, Lovelace tried to express her feeling to Hendricks, but ended up alone, with Hendricks confused. On the May 31 episode of OVW, Lovelace confronted Trina and challenged her to a match for the women's title on the Saturday Night Special, which Trina accepted. The following day at OVW's Saturday Night Special, Trina reversed Lovelace's attempt of a Hurricane Rana into a powerbomb to retain her title. Shine Wrestling 2012-2014. On August 17, 2012, it was announced that Prange would make her debut at the Shine Wrestling event called Shine 2 under her ring name Heidi Lovelace. At the event, Lovelace faced fellow OVW wrestlers Sojourner Bolt and Taylor Hendricks in a three-way match, which was won by Bolt. On November 16, at Shine 5, Lovelace was defeated by Sassy Steffi in a singles match. On February 22, 2013 at Shine 7, Lovelace was defeated by Brittany Savage. On May 24, Lovelace teamed with Luscious Latasha and Solo Darling to take on Sojourner Bolt, Sassy Steffi and Jessie Bell in a six-women tag team match, in which her team lost. Lovelace's losing streak continued at Shine 15 when she was defeated by Mercedes Martinez in singles action. During Shine 16, on January 24, 2014, her losing streak ended after being confirmed as the newest member of the All-Star Squad faction run by Daphne, after forming a tag team with fellow AS member Solo Darling called the Buddy System, and defeated SNS Express, Chikara 2013-2016. On May 18, 2013, Lovelace made her debut for Chikara, when she and Saturine entered the 2013 Tag World Grand Prix. They were, however, eliminated in their first-round match by Eric Hannon and Aaron Corbin. On December 6, 2014, in the pre-show of the Tomorrow Never Dies IPPV, Lovelace defeated Missile Assault Ant in the finals of a tournament to win the Chikara Young Lions Cup. She defended her Young Lions Cup multiple times in 2015, remaining undefeated in the year. Also in 2015, Heidi took part in the Challenge of the Immortals tournament, which was a season-long double round-robin event. She was drafted to Dasha Hatfield's team, christened Dash's Dugout, which also included Dash's fellow Throwbacks teammate, Mr. Touchdown, Mark Angelo Zetti, and then Chikara Grand Championship holder, Icarus. Their team led in points for much of the tournament, before ultimately forfeiting their points due to it being revealed that Mr. Touchdown had been cheating late in the tournament by giving Dasher a secretly loaded elbow pad. Even so, Dash and Heidi took part in the season-closing Torneo Cybernetico 16-man match together. On Saturday, March 19, 2016, she received a title shot at the Chikara Grand Championship against fellow female wrestler Princess Kimberly in Gibsonville, North Carolina at the Mid-Atlantic Sportatorium. Kimber retained after escaping the Chikara special submission and then locking on a bow and arrow-style submission that contorted Heidi to the point she had to tap. Beyond Wrestling 2014-2015. She made her first appearance at St. Louis Sleeper Cell on February 9, 2014. After losing to Brian Fury at When Satan Rules His World on April 26, 2015, she unexpectedly turned heel at Beyond Wrestling The Real Thing on May 31, by superkicking Kimberly after Chris Dickinson had interfered in Kimberly's match with Shine Rom, thus joining Team Pazuzu. In a video posted to Beyond Wrestling's YouTube channel, she explained that her motivation was perceived favoritism shown by the promotion to Kimberly. World Wonder Ring Stardom 2015. On January 11, 2015, Lovelace made her Japanese debut for the World Wonder Ring Stardom promotion, teaming with Act Yasukawa in a tag team match, where they defeated Hudson Envy and Chris Wolf. On January 18, Lovelace, Yasukawa, and Dragonita were forced to join the villainous Monster Gun stable, after being defeated by Envy, Wolf and the stable's leader Kyoko Kimura in a six-woman tag team match. Following the addition of the new members, Monster Gun was renamed Dido Tai. On February 8, Lovelace, Dragonita and Envy unsuccessfully challenged Heidi Gunn for the Artist of Stardom Championship. NXT 2016-2017. On December 15, 2016, it was reported that Prange had signed with WWE and reported to the WWE Performance Center. She made her in-ring debut on January 13 at an NXT Live event, losing to Daria Berenato. Going by the ring name Ruby Riott, she made her television debut on the March 22 episode of NXT, attacking Nikki Cross and the rest of Sunny Y, alongside Ty Dillinger, No Way Jose and Roderick Strong, which led to a match between the two teams at NXT TakeOver Orlando on April 1, where Riott's team lost in her first singles match, which aired on the April 12 episode of NXT. Riott defeated Kimberly Frankel with Nikki Cross attempting to distract her. The following week, Cross called out Riott, and a brawl ensued. William Regal booked the two in a match, which again led to a brawl that had to be split up. On the May 3 episode of NXT, Riott participated in a Contenders Battle Royal for Asuka's NXT Women's Championship and made it to the final three before Asuka attacked her, Cross, and Ember Moon, resulting in a no contest. A fatal four-way match between all four women for the championship was later scheduled at NXT TakeOver Chicago, but Moon was later taken out of the match due to a legitimate injury. Riott would go on to lose the match at the event after Asuka pinned both her and Cross simultaneously. On the October 18 episode of NXT, Riott competed against Ember Moon and Sonya Deville in a triple threat qualifying match for a title opportunity at NXT TakeOver War Games, but was unsuccessful as the match was won by Moon. She later competed twice against Sonya Deville on NXT, with Ruby winning the first one on November 22, but losing the second one on December 7 in a no-holds-barred, which turned out to be her last match on NXT after already being on the main roster. Riott Squad 2017-present. On the November 21, 2017 episode of SmackDown, Riott made her main roster debut along with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan as heels, attacking both Becky Lynch and Naomi. On the same night, they interrupted a match between SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair and Natalya, and proceeded to attack both of them. The following week on SmackDown, Riott alongside Morgan and Logan, now known as the Riott Squad, made their in-ring main roster debut, defeating Charlotte Flair, Natalya and Naomi in a six-woman tag team match, with Riott pinning Flair. The group then suffered their first loss, against Flair, and a returning Naomi, whom they had injured in prior weeks. On the 2nd of January edition of SmackDown, Riott announced that she and her stable would be entering the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match before being attacked by Charlotte Flair, Naomi and a returning Becky Lynch. On the January 9, 2018 episode of SmackDown, Riott was defeated by Lynch. On the January 16 episode of SmackDown, the Riott Squad defeated Becky Lynch, Naomi and Charlotte Flair, with Liv Morgan pinning Naomi. At the Royal Rumble 2018 event, Riott entered at the number 15. She eliminated Vicky Guerrero and Becky Lynch before getting eliminated by Nia Jax. On January 30 episode of SmackDown, Riott, Morgan and Logan interrupted Charlotte Flair during an interview segment and then proceeded to attack her as they leave Carmella attempt to cash in, but failed. On February 6, Liv Morgan was defeated by Charlotte Flair in singles action. On February 13, Sarah Logan was defeated by Charlotte Flair. The following week, Riott Squad faced Naomi, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair, which Riott Squad won as Ruby pinned Lynch. Later on SmackDown, it was announced that Charlotte Flair will defend the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship against Ruby Riott at WWE Fastlane. Other media. Riott made her WWE video game debut as a playable character in WWE 2K18. Featured as downloadable content.
Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?